Well, first of all, thank you very much for joining us here tonight. The name of the debate tonight, the future of farming in Medway and Swale. I don't have to tell this audience here that farming is changing. It's having to compete with all kinds of different competitors, not least online. Here in the southeast, there are other pressures on farmland. I'm sure in this room all know about the different options on the Lower Thames crossing.
Recently, the focus of my attention has been particularly on the effect of the national living wage on fruit farmers. And I know for fruit farmers, some that will have a really big effect. And I have been working to try and get DEFRA and the Chancellor to recognise how difficult the national living wage might make things for fruit farmers. I was putting pressure on the Chancellor for this latest budget to try and do something about that. I'd say I was frustrated that other than the alignment of the national living wage, national minimum wage cycles, I didn't see anything else in that budget which was going to be helpful on this point. I would like to see some action on that in the years to come, because my view is, the fight is not over. We're going to see the national living wage ratcheting up year on year.
I'm here predominantly because I was invited by Goathams, who are an amazing organisation within my constituency, who have done amazing things up at their site at 2, and I'm very proud to have them in my constituency and a great supporter of the work that they're doing. We, as a local area, are being told that we've got to deliver 29,500 homes over the next 20 years. For me, that means that there's potentially a lot of farmland or land on the most rural parts of my constituency that maybe come under threat. And unfortunately, once those fields are built on, that really stops them from ever going back to becoming places where they house our livestock or where there's a potential to grow fruit and vegetables. So for me, I very much want to see if I can protect the rural part of my constituency.
Retail price pressure. Now, I call it the race to the bottom. I really wonder how cheap is cheap, and we all, I suppose, as consumers, and nothing can be cheap enough. But is that really undervaluing our produce? Is that really making people think that actually what we produce, what we're so proud of producing, is so cheap, it's rubbish? And I do really worry about the race to the bottom and what it's doing to our industry. But the national living wage that government brought upon us, I think as a union we don't dispute that's the wrong thing to do. But I think the speed that it was brought in was unprecedented, and a lot of us were already in negotiations or committed to contracts without looking at this sort of thing. And also, a little bit that was a bit sneaky is the increase in the national insurance contribution, because, every time it goes up, you've got an extra payment of national insurance. Any of you here who employ seasonal workers, realistically think about this. Does somebody want to come here for 4 months and enrol into a British pension scheme and end up with a pot that's 30 or 40 quid and take that away with them, and all the admin and what have you that goes around that? And we're trying to extend that to maybe 6 months before you auto enrol, which would do away with all these issues we have with the living wage at the moment in terms of auto enrolment and pensions. So the key measures are: the agri-food makes a substantial contribution to the UK economy as a major employee, adds stability during a downturn, exports have nearly doubled in a decade, potential for growth throughout productivity, export and innovation. However, the industry needs a stable footing to generate additional growth for the economy. Opportunities for growth, and there's lots of diversifications you could get into within the business. But the challenges that are holding us up at the moment is the CAP reform should not be driven by ideology. Plant protection products, I've mentioned that. We need to ensure we have adequate plant protection products. We want fair and transparent supply chain rules. We want reduction in the red tape. Some people say that we've reduced in self-sufficiency. We probably have reduced in self-sufficiency a lot because we've all got used to eating strawberries in the winter and asparagus out of season. I still think as an industry we've got lots of opportunities there. And R&D and across crop biotechnology. I don't think we need to get onto the GM debate tonight, but I think if we're going to reduce pesticides, we've got 3 choices really. We eat organically, we eat pesticides, or we eat GM. Now, organic, is a lifestyle choice, but to me, it's never going to win the day for the volume. So we either look at developing more our R&D and use of pesticides, or we look at GM. And then, of course, we've got diversification beyond the farm gate. And I don't think you can, you've seen a lot of that in here tonight with this industry, but also with PV and with AD and all these things, which can be quite challenging to the local community. Planning on farms are a big issue. I know that people are quite emotive about caravans for migrant workers, but just tell them, come and have a go then. If you've got an issue, where are you? Where are the people, local people applying for jobs in horticulture? Because I can't find them, and I'll challenge any MP who says that there's, we're bringing too many migrants to come to my factory, not on a Monday morning, on a Sunday morning, and see if they can find me 150 local people, because I can't find them to do the job. We also need to ensure we've got good infrastructure and water, and obviously trickle irrigation and the Water Reform Act is a big thing that's coming up in the next session of Parliament, and we as the NFU are lobbying hard to make sure there's enough water for all our industries. So the final thoughts are really the sector can grow to meet more UK consumption. Continued adaptation required simply to stay in business. Real life solutions to address productivity. Business solutions, innovation, investment, adding value, skills and market insight are all required. Stable, long-term incentives to invest in capital, infrastructure and machinery. And the sector needs a clear path through the planning system, boosting productivity, work for the whole community.
The aim of this evening really is to bring together the community representatives and farming in order that we better engage with each other and understand the challenges that we each face. AC Goatham Son are a rural business. We're a grower, we're a family business, we're actually an agri-business, but actually we quite simply grow the best apples and pears in the UK. Our gross added value is some £12 million annually, and it's in our plan to raise this to some £28 million. That tells you that this is a business that's got a future, this is a business that's got a plan, and this is a business that's going to grow. This harvest, we're looking for 500 seasonal workers. And in Kent, this figure is 60,000 seasonal jobs for agriculture. We believe that that's a huge opportunity to get people into jobs who want to work. We as a team started to think about this in terms of this evening, in terms of how we could all work together to actually come up with some welfare-friendly solutions. For example, and this is just a little bit of brainstorming, how do we encourage those on welfare to undertake seasonal work without penalising their overall income? That might be one way. What's really critical though is that we've got skilled, engaged, enthusiastic members of the team. If we're going to compete, our infrastructure has to be world class. Gone are the days when our competitors are actually the farm down the road. They're now growers from overseas. If you compare us, for example, with a French grower, one of the largest growers, that produce 260 tonnes of apples to our 35 tonnes of apples, or that are packing on 2 sites, probably 4 times the size of Flanders Farm, or the South African grower that's got 90 growers that's within their group, you can see we're actually relatively small. However, by investing in the most state-of-the-art facilities, growing methods and varieties, as well as the people within our business, we punch well above our weight. When we look at 20 years forward now, what are the top opportunities for our business to compete? Because that's how we think. What infrastructure will we need to be successful? What skill sets are we going to need? What roles will technology play? We can't answer all the questions now, but we all face similar, and I would argue, the same challenges and changes. We're used to working with farmers, with businesses, and most recently with retailers. We're in our 3rd season of actually supplying our retailers directly, Sainsbury's particularly. And our growth has been exponential over the last 10 years. And our ambition is, and will continue to be, to grow and contribute to our local, our regional and our national communities, and even overseas. And I've not even touched on the opportunity for exporting apples and pears. Help us to help you as our local representatives, because together our future is growing. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention tonight and also your contributions, and I hope to see you in the bar in the next few minutes. Thank you very much.